wanted to say a big thank you to one of my favorite brands for sponsoring this video, Factor. I love you so much. And you guys know I am a big fan of Factor. Anything that makes my life a little bit easier when it comes to eating healthy, I'm all about, okay? Factor is a meal delivery service that is fresh, never frozen. They are chef prepared, dietitian approved, and they just really have like the best meals on there. You can go in and choose what meals you want for the week, and it just ships directly to your door, and then you just put them in your fridge, and then you have meal prep for the week, and you didn't have to spend hours on a Sunday doing that. So today we are doing the Nona's Sunday Beef Bolognese, and it looks very, very, very good. So we're gonna do a taste test. Hold on, let me show you guys up close how good this looks. That looks absolutely bomb, and I did not have to make it myself, which makes it even better. They have basically every single category of like eating style on there, so you don't have to worry about that if you have certain dietary restrictions. Bronson and I personally love the Protein Plus, and then when I'm tracking macros, I like the Calorie Smart option. Wow. This one's really good. I've actually never had this one before. If you see this one on here, very good. Highly recommend. If you guys want to try out Factor, I do have a discount code as always, and it'll always be linked in the description. You can head to factor75.com or click the link and use code 50Kylie to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. So that's Kylie50, that's the code, and you get free shipping. So highly recommend, you guys. I love Factor. I think if you're a college student, if you work and you need to take your lunch to work, or you know, if you're just like me and you're just a little bit lazy sometimes, I recommend this. Makes my life so much easier. I love you, Factor. You guys, I am leaving in literally, what time is it? 5 minutes. I have to leave at 3:40 to go to HYROX. It is today. Our time is 5:10, so that's when our heat is going. I am so nervous. I have not been this nervous since a college soccer game. I'm not kidding. Education, if you will, about what HYROX is. It's like a high intensity fitness competition, essentially. You do 8 different exercises, and in between each exercise, run 1 kilometer. So when you do a partner's HYROX, which is what me and Paige are doing, today, we do the entire run together, but we split the amount of reps for the exercise. So say it's like walking lunges, like one of us will do like half of the lunges, the other one will do the other half of the lunges. I have heard from so many people that this is like harder than running a marathon. Like when you're done with it, it's like harder than running a marathon. So I'm a bit nervous. But like I'm a circuit girly, like that is my bread and butter. I love circuit training and like really high intensity circuit training. So I'm like, I feel like we're gonna do well. However, I just have not been training for HYROX specifically. I've just been training for the marathon. So, you know, we'll see. And then our other friend, and then Tara is also doing it. She's been doing it with our new friend, Carrie. And so they're gonna do it as well. They're a little bit later than us. So I'm nervous. Let me show you the outfit. I'm wearing just some black leggings, some New Balance shoes, and my Powders Athletic Team LSKD bra. Very cute. The blue is very, very cute. Get a little French braid moment into a pony. But yeah, I'm running late. I gotta go pick everybody up, and then we are going to head there. We're gonna take some pre-workout. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be a party, and I'm excited about that part. I'm just a little nervous about how we're actually gonna do. Literally 2 days ago, threw out my back, like to the point where it was difficult to breathe. Like that's how bad it was hurting. And it started with my hip from running, and so that was like so out of whack, but then it was my upper back that I guess was like compensating, and so it like just made it completely tighten up and freeze up, and I like couldn't even move. It is tender to the touch, so I'm a bit nervous about how this is gonna go in like regards to my back, but you know, I'm gonna be a dog. I'm gonna be a dog, and I'm gonna get it done. Let's go, I guess. Bye, babies. I love you guys. See you in a little bit. Guys, okay. We need to debrief. These, if you watch my last vlog, very good. I really like them. Why don't you come downstairs? Come on. Can you guys see her? She's being so weird. Thank you, you little freak. Okay, so it's been a few days since Hyrox, and guys, that was so much fun. I really had the best time. I feel like I didn't vlog much while I was there, but other people were like filming Paige and I while we were doing it. Our official time was 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 36 seconds. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Honestly, like I really had no expectations going into it. I feel like I had heard from other people that like an hour 15 to an hour 10 is like a good time. So I guess like mentally I was trying to get under an hour 10, and we did by a few seconds. That's it. So I'm not mad about that. And I think Paige and I could honestly do better if like you have a time you want to be going into it versus like just going into it kind of blind. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of debrief. I wanted to answer some questions. I had you guys ask me questions on Instagram just like about Hyrox, or like if you even knew what it was in general. So I think I've kind of explained this before, but Hyrox is like a high intensity fitness competition. So it's not a CrossFit competition and it's not a marathon. So, but it's something in the middle. There are 8 stations, and each station has an exercise that you're supposed to do with a certain amount of reps. Let me pull them up so I don't mess this up. So you start with running 1 kilometer, which is about 0.6 of a mile. So you run your 1 kilometer and then you run in and you start your first exercise, which is ski erg, which is like handles and you pull it down. You have 1,000 meters, and then you go into another 1 kilometer run, and then you go into your next station, which is sled push. Then you push the sled back and forth twice, and then you go and run another 1 kilometer, and then you have sled pull, where you like pull the sled with a rope. Then you run another kilometer, and then you have burpee broad jump, where you do 80 meters of a burpee broad jump. Then you go run another kilometer, and you have 1,000 meters of rowing, and then you run another kilometer, and then you have farmer's carry, and then you run another kilometer, and then you have sandbag lunges, and then you run another kilometer, and then you have lastly 100 wall balls, and then you're done. So there are literally no breaks within this entire thing. So it is very, very, very high intensity, and you not only have to be a good runner to get a good time, but you also have to be strong. So it's a very unique fitness competition, and to be honest, I feel like it's right up my alley because I love hit circuits. Like that is the way that I've trained ever since finishing college soccer. I feel like I love like hit style training, but like not just like jumping jacks. Like I like lifting and running combined into a circuit. So when I first heard about Hyrox, it was 2 years ago. I got asked to be on someone's relay team, like very, very last minute, which is with 4 people. We did a mixed relay. So we did 2 guys and 2 girls. I did burpee broad jump and sled push, which were both very hard. I will say I had more fun doing doubles with Paige than I did doing the relay, just because it was harder. Like the relay was not that hard because you really only did 2 exercises, and so it was done in like 15 minutes. But doubles with Paige were so much fun. Like I hadn't been that locked in on something in a very long time. Like that was the most competitive drive I've felt in a really long time. And it was nice to like have something to like compete for, if that makes sense. Even though we didn't really have a time, I feel like if we do another one, it's gonna be even a level higher than that, just because we'll have a time we want to be, and like we want a podium. So we ended up getting 4th place, which, you know, I'm not mad about. In our age group for women's doubles, we ended up getting 4th place. So 3rd place only beat us by like a few seconds, which is a little annoying because I'm like, we were that close. I wish we would have known that, because I feel like we would have pushed a little harder. But like day of, I have not been that nervous for something in so long. It felt like track almost. You line up in the little huddle area before they start you, and I was like,
Paige, I'm gonna throw up. I literally am gonna throw up, like standing here right now.
So the one thing about when you do doubles, if you guys are looking to do Hyrox, which is open to anybody can sign up. I highly recommend trying it. I saw on TikTok the other day that 2 80-year-old ladies just finished. They finished with like an hour, like 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is just amazing. I feel like it really is something that like anybody can do, because you don't have to sprint the runs. You can walk them if you want. There's no really time cap, not that I know of. So it was such a fun experience. Like I really, really loved it. it. But now let's get into some of y'all's questions. I'm sure you guys have a lot because HYROX is new, but it's becoming so popular. I want to answer some questions that you guys have. If you're looking to do it or you're just interested, you're like, what the heck is this? How long did you train before HYROX / did you feel prepared? Okay, so this is kind of a loaded question. I feel like the last time I did HYROX, I knew I needed to get better at running. Like the strength in the stations, like I do that type of training all the time. So I didn't really need to train those that much. I knew I needed to get better at running. And so I knew we signed up for HYROX before we signed up for the marathon, but I knew marathon training was going to help me with HYROX. So I actually did feel pretty prepared because my weakness was running. That's all that I've been working on. I was a bit nervous going into it. I was like, oh geez, I have not done a hit circuit in so long. Like, am I gonna be able to do this? But yeah, it was honestly, I felt marathon training helped so much because the running is 0.6 and you kind of got to keep like a pretty fast pace. Paige and I calculated our paces and we were running like a 7:15 mile, but obviously you weren't running a whole mile and you're splitting it up in those 1 kilometer chunks. But I was pretty pleased with that pace because I haven't run a 7:15 pace like at all this marathon training. So I was pretty pleased with that. Okay, my best advice. This is what I was trying to tell Tara and Carrie while they were going, but obviously they were going, so it was like hard to give advice. But for the runs, do not sprint. Like the whole thing is like a hit workout and it's going to be very intense, very high heart rate. So I wouldn't sprint right out the gate or really for any of the runs because you're going to gas yourself. You want to find this perfect pace that is fast, but it's not unbearable, if that makes sense. Like to where you can pretty much hold this because you're going from being gassed in an exercise to then having to run pretty fast on the runs, like as fast as you can. Like for example, when Paige and I did the lunges, I finished the lunges right before we ran. So my legs were just like toast. And I was like, Paige, we gotta pace this first lap because I think in Dallas, the arena, it was 2.5 laps. So I was like, we gotta pace this first lap because I have to catch my breath and my legs are like so dead right now. But after we paced that first lap, we were able to pick it up back to our like pretty fast pace. And I think that's what really helped us get a pretty decent time. Ooh, what was the hardest station for me? Probably either sled pull or row, just because obviously my lower body is stronger than my upper body and I never train like pulling a sled. Like it's just like a really weird movement. So I think most girls probably struggle with the sled pull. There's also like technique to it to where you're supposed to like use your legs a little more than like just upper body. And Paige and I didn't really practice that a ton. So I think we could get faster there. Or rower. I just suck at rowing. Ski erg, I think I'm actually pretty good at, but rowing, I'm like, I just have horrible technique and I really need to practice. So one of those two. How many laps are 1 kilometer? So I think this changes based on where the HYROX event is held because different arenas or different sizes or whatever. But in Dallas specifically, it was like a little over 2 laps, like 2.2 laps. So I think total, Paige and I ran 6.7 miles total. So how did you deal with knee/back pain? Okay, so my knee kind of always gives me some issues every now and then. It just always will for the rest of my life probably. But I tweaked my back like 2 days before HYROX, which was like honestly horrible timing. I was in Joann's Fabric. No shade, but there are a lot of old ladies in Joann's Fabric. Obviously, it's a fabric store. I also go to Joann's Fabric, so no shade at all. I love Joann and I love the old ladies. We are one, okay? But I was bending over to pick up some fabric and I'm not kidding you when I say my back just like completely tensed up. I couldn't move. I could barely breathe. That's how bad it was. I couldn't pick the fabric up off the ground and I was like, I really am one of these old ladies because I physically cannot get off the ground right now. And I was like, oh dude. And I was thinking about HYROX and how Paige was gonna be so mad at me if I got hurt right before HYROX. And I got a massage. I went to the chiropractor. I just like did everything that I could to feel as best as I could. I would say I was feeling like 70% day of, but I just took some Advil, biofreeze the absolute snot out of my back, and then the chiropractor like taped up my back, and then I just tried to like copy his tape a few days later. And you know, I only felt it at the very end, the very last run. I was like, ooh, I'm feeling it now, but luckily we're almost done. So yeah, it didn't give me that many issues. My knee honestly didn't give me any issues, you know? That's pretty good. Okay, this will be the last one because a lot of these are kind of like the same type of questions. Main takeaways for how to better train / prepare for your next one. I kind of have a lot to say here because I want to do really well. Like, I think Paige and I could actually do really, really well. And here's what I think we can get better at. Obviously, we can train the exercises, but I think we did pretty well for like not having really trained them at all. Like specifically, I do think where we're going to cut time the most is on the running. I think that's probably the case for most people, is they can do the strength stuff because the weight isn't that heavy. The only thing that's super heavy is the sled push and pull, in my opinion. Everything else is either like cardio based or like the lunges aren't very heavy. The wall balls are not very heavy. So like pretty much anybody can do the exercises. It's the running where you're either going to shave time or add time to your overall time. And I think if Paige and I can get faster, so we were running our laps around 4 minutes and 45 seconds. I think if we can get those down to 4 minutes, that's a 6:30 pace. And I think we could do really, really well. So I really want to focus on running even more than I did because I was obviously training for the marathon. I still am kind of, but I haven't been running the past few days. So I need to get back on it. I need to train faster. Like I need to train faster rather than just endurance because I feel like I have a really good endurance base, but I need to get faster at my miles. So if I can just train a fast pace, I think I will get a lot better and do a lot better for HYROX. So that's probably my biggest main takeaway. Also just going in with a little more of a plan with Paige of like who's going to go first on the exercises, who's going to go last, and whoever that person is needs to go straight into the run. So they need to be a really strong runner. Just like having more of a plan going into it because we literally went in not even really talking about it. So I think if we just trained more specifically for HYROX, obviously we could do better. So I would do more mock HYROX workouts and then I would also run faster. Those are my two main takeaways. But it was so much fun. Like the environment of all the people there, incredible. And this one was crazy. They said they had double the amount of athletes as last year. So it was like literally double the size. And they had so many people coming to watch because there were so many like fitness influencers, big people that were like competing at Dallas. So it was just like a great environment. Like I really loved it. Do I think I will ever do a solo one? You know, never say never because I tend to do that. And then I do what I say I will never do. So, but I think a solo would be literally so much harder than the doubles because Paige and I got to split all of the reps and like we were gassed at the end of our splitting the reps. So I can't imagine doing double the exercises that we already did. It's the same amount of running for doubles and singles, but it's just like the exercises where you have to do full reps or half reps. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if I'm like crazy one day, I will do a single. But I really enjoyed the doubles and I actually think Paige and I can do really well in that. You know, never say never, but you guys, it was so much fun. And if you're thinking about doing it, highly recommend. Just sign up for it. Just do it. Do it with a friend. Do it with a relay. Do it by yourself if you're crazy. That was literally the most fun I've had working out in a really long time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. Maybe it inspired you to go sign up for a HYROX race. I don't know. But I love you guys and I'll see you in my next video.